Hello, my name is Daniel, and in around 12 days I'm taking on my first middle distance triathlon of the year at the Outlaw Half Nottingham event. I'm in the garage today on the time trial bike because it is tinkling it down outside. I'm testing some stuff. Because I've not got much time between now and the event, I need to spend as much time as possible riding this bike, the bike that I'll be racing on the day, and I've got a few new things that I need to test on it, things that I got like over the winter but haven't actually gotten around to trying. The biggest one is, for me, a big thing when I'm racing is a power meter, to be able to pace the event, to be able to get the maximum performance from yourself out, to measure the force you're putting through the pedals is brilliant. I can make sure I'm not going too hard, I can make sure I'm going hard enough. Now, I used to use Fevera Asioma pedals on the bike, and I've gone to these, which are the Wahoo Speedplay Aero pedals. Now, they're supposed to be slightly faster than the other pedals. Whether they are or not, I don't really know. I have seen people talk about them and say that they are slightly faster in that aerodynamic wise, but maybe I'm just scraping the barrel too much, I don't know. But that's meant that these don't have a power meter version, or they don't have a power meter version in this aero capacity. I do have the normal ones that are power meters, but those little golf ball dimples are supposed to be the make or break. So what I did was I got a Rotor 2-in power crank. Sorry about all the wax that's everywhere. I've got a freshly waxed NRG wax chain and it has gone everywhere, as that's what it does initially. So this is a two-sided power meter crank, so I charge it up in the little hole in there, which I have just done overnight, and it measures power both sides, and it's based in the crank spindle. So I need to test it. The most important thing about power meters is consistency. When you use different brands, different models, there will be variations between them. It doesn't mean that they're broken or they're not working. As long as it's not a massive difference, there might well be like a 2-3% in between them. So what I'm trying to do is just understand what that difference is between what I normally use and what I'm now going to be using, because sometimes that like maybe 10 watts difference is important for pacing. So how I'm doing this is I've connected this crank, I've calibrated it, and I've set that to my Garmin bike computer, and I record this workout on this bike computer, and then I'm riding on Zwift, and I'm going to connect my Tacx Neo 2T Turbo Trainer to my laptop, which is up there somewhere, and also record that session through Zwift. So that means I can compare this file to that file. I'm only planning a steady ride, to be honest, because I'm pretty tired, but I might do a few little efforts and just see how they compare, maybe like 20 seconds to a minute at threshold or VO2 or something like that, to see how it responds. But if I'm honest, it's not the response that I'm that bothered about, it's more the long-term average, the sort of like 5-minute plus averages that I need to sort of keep in mind. So I'm hoping the differences won't be large, but there's one way to find out, so let's get on the bike. In absolute textbook Zwift group ride fashion, it started off pretty hard. I put a pretty big dig in to get back to the group. This is labelled as a recovery ride, whatever. Anyway, that serves the purpose of me doing some shorter, harder efforts to compare power. Job done. Now I'm just going to try and get back into my 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off TT position work and just get used to it. So like my arms and shoulders are the biggest things that need to adapt. I'm not finding too much trouble with like hamstrings and glutes that I have done in the past, so yeah, let's get in it. Ride done and dusted. If I'm honest, my legs are absolutely smashed, so 1 hour, that will do. Just looked at the power stats, so from the Tacx Neo Turbo, I normalised for the hour 236 watts, and from the Rotor crank, it was 237 watts, so that will do. I will look at it in a bit more detail later on today, because there were like a couple of times I did like a minute hard or 2 minutes hard, and I'll just analyse those sections, but that's absolutely fine. Obviously, the more power you put out, that percentage just extrapolates the amount of watts out, but I'm not going to be doing hundreds of watts more than that, so that should be absolutely fine. I'm really happy with that, to be honest. So that takes one like stress or unknown out of my mind for race day. There are still, however, a lot of other stresses, unknowns ahead of race day. I'm still waiting for some bolts for the cockpit, so I can sort that out. I need to sort the float out on my Speedplay cleats because my heel's hitting the frame, but the screws on the Speedplay cleat float adjustment, I keep rounding screwdrivers off and I can't seem to move the screws. Anyway, this is boring. I need to sort those things out though. So I'm going to go and get showered, have some lunch, and I'm going to get out for a run a little bit later on after I've spent the majority of today making videos, because that is my life. So it's pretty much tea time and it's finally stopped raining. I've just had a lovely nap and I'm really actually noticing now I'm quite sunburnt from yesterday's ride. So hopefully that calms down in a day or two. Put sun cream on in future, Daniel. Good afternoon, Elizabeth.
Hello.
Are you okay?
Yes, thank you.
What have you been doing today?
Oh, I've been selling stuff on Vinted.
Oh my god, yeah.
Updating my Vinted.
Tell us about your
What if that person watches this channel?
It's unlikely. Go on, tell us about your business deal.
I don't know if I can.
Come on, you can. Come on, it's funny.
Right, so a few weeks ago, I bought some new gardening gloves and I'm actually wearing them at the moment.
Very nice.
They were $5.99, but it was buy one, get one free. So I didn't actually need the other pair, so what I did is I put them on Vinted for £3, still brand new with tags.
Somebody's bought them.
Yeah, somebody's brought them.
Fantastic. There's some new plants here.
One new plant.
One new plant. That one, the pink one.
Yep.
Good. What are those?
Got that today.
What are those chickens doing behind you? Can I ask?
Well, them two are broody, and Beatrice is just joining in.
Oh, okay.
And she's broody as well, Ruby.
Oh dear.
So I'm not really sure.
It's a full-time job, isn't it? Look after chickens.
Yeah, it sure is.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you very much, Elizabeth. I'm going to end today's video there.
I've got 2 new lights.
Have you 2 new lights as well? All right. I don't want to show off. Alright, going to end today's video there. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please do hit the subscribe button down below. I really hope these nuts turn up for the time trial bike in the next couple of days so I can get out on the road on it at some point. I really need to ride on the road. I need to close this door properly, so I'll put this camera down. I'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock for some more proper triathlon training.